and welcome from Beijing. This is China 24 on CGTN. I'm Wang Mengmeng. Coming right up on our show tonight. Chinese President Xi Jinping prepares to go to Brazil for the BRICS summit as he wraps up a state visit to Greece. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam has strong words for rioters after they blocked roads and obstruct railway. 500,000 orders a second. The double 11-day shopping madness goes into override. And the Chinese esports players rise to the top in global competitions. And it's not just players who stand to benefit. Well, we start our program with Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Greece. Today, he visited the Acropolis Museum, which sits at the foot of the Acropolis in Athens. He also was expected to visit the Parthenon and view the statue of Athena together with his Greek counterpart, Prokopis Pavlopoulos. He also met with former Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras. This is the first state visit by a Chinese leader to the European nation in 11 years. A joint statement and a number of deals were signed on Monday. Following the Greek trip, Xi is heading to Brazil to attend the 11th BRICS summit. He will meet with leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa on Wednesday and Thursday in Brasilia. The two sides also have issued a statement on their plans for future cooperation.
Both countries believe their relations have made significant progress since diplomatic ties were established 47 years ago. They agreed to deepen their comprehensive strategic partnership based on mutual respect and mutual benefits. On the political front, they agreed their foreign ministries will strengthen political consultations. Greece has reaffirmed the One China principle over the Taiwan issue, and China has reaffirmed its support for European integration. In terms of economy, they agreed to help build an open world economy, oppose all forms of protectionism and unilateralism. They also said they are willing to maintain the multilateral trading system with the World Trade Organization at the core. In April, Greece joined the China, Central and Eastern European countries cooperation mechanism. Greece says it wants to play a positive role in the group and help to better connect China and those countries. They also said they are going to work closer under the Belt and Road Initiative, especially on the port of Piraeus, among other key projects. Greece will establish a consulate general in Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province in southwest China. They will also facilitate cooperation in many other areas, including agriculture, technology innovation, ecological protection, and maritime economy. China and Greece are two ancient cultures. The two nations have agreed to strengthen their cultural exchanges and work closely in archaeology, cultural heritage, arts, education, and tourism. Meng Hui, CGTN, Beijing.
And now for the latest on this visit, let me bring in our correspondent Naweed Debarkil live from Athens. Hello there, Naweed. What more can you tell us about this joint statement? And of course, what does it say about the future direction of the country's relations?
Hi, Meng. Yeah, well, just above my shoulder from this incredible vantage point we've got, you can see the Acropolis standing on top of one of two hills here which oversee the city of Athens, the Greek capital. And just at the foot of that hill was where President Xi was given a guided tour around the Acropolis Museum. The man who gave him that tour is called Dimitrios Pandamalis. He's the director of the Acropolis Museum. And we've managed to speak to him in the past few moments where he told us more about what President Xi was interested in. The president asked about the Greek theatre, which dates back for about 2,000 years. That building that you can see was actually thought to have started building in the 5th century BC, so it dates back almost 2,500 years, giving you a sense of the rich history which President Xi has been talking about while he's been here, highlighting the fact that both Greece and China are two of the ancient great civilizations. In terms of what else President Xi said, it was a very lively and a very interesting walk, one where he was asking about the power of Athens as well, that dated back around 2,500 years ago, because of course President Xi in his speech yesterday after the press conference call this the cradle of Western civilization. Interestingly, Mr. Pandamalis also said that our life isn't only economic, but it's also about culture. And culture has been one thing that President Xi has been keen on promoting here, the fact that he visited this museum signifying that, because the Belt and Road, Greece is a hugely important country for China's ambitions in the region, but it's also one that President Xi wants to try and increase people-to-people ties with as well. That's going to happen as part of the 16 deals that were signed yesterday between the two governments. Culture and education links will be boosted, and it's really something that not just President Xi, but also the Greek head of government, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, has been keen to promote as well. Meng Meng?
Well, they paid respect to history, and they're also looking at the future. And talking about that, Naweed, President Xi Jinping will head to Brazil next to attend the BRICS summit there, taking place on Wednesday and Thursday. So what are people looking for at the gathering?
Yeah, I think he'll be leaving Greece with quite some momentum as well, but a very important meeting taking place in the Brazilian capital, Brasilia, on November the 13th and 14th. President Xi will be joined by the leaders of Brazil, Russia, India and South Africa. And really this is going to be a crucial meeting, because you sense that this is an important time for developing countries like the 5 that have formed BRICS. Just to give you a sense of how important they are as a grouping, in 2006 it was originally Brazil, Russia, India and China which set it up, with South Africa joining in 2010. Today, according to the IMF and the World Bank, they cover about 3 billion people in total. That's almost 4 in every 10 people on the world are covered in BRICS nations. And in terms of their economic power, $21 trillion. Most of that's coming obviously from the Chinese economy, which is the second biggest in the world. That's roughly around a quarter of the world's economy. Growth is stagnating across the world. Obviously it's a challenge for governments, not just in developing nations, but in developed nations as well. So I think the outcome of what's happened in the next few days could be very, very significant, not just for the 5 countries taking part, but it will be closely watched by the developed economies as well as the rest of the world as well. Back to you.
Well, thanks so much, Naweed Jarbakil, live for us from Athens. And now we want to get some more discussion, and I'm pleased to be joined here in the studio by Ms. Su Xiaohui with the China Institute of International Studies. Welcome to our program, Ms. Su. So we understand Greece is a very important player of the China proposed Belt and Road Initiative, and China is keen to boost investment under that framework to Greece. And has Xi's trip added new momentum to boost that investment?
Well, just now the correspondent talked about the joint statement of the two countries. He focused a lot on the cultural exchange. But according to my understanding, Belt and Road Initiative was kind of important content of the joint statement. And China would like to make Greece as kind of important partner, and would like to set up kind of example for cooperation for the Belt and Road Initiative. Well, Greece has been suffered a lot from the economic development, the challenges and the difficulties. We all knew that the country had a lot of difficulty in the 2008 financial crisis. So China would like to provide help, including the investment, to help these countries to try to explore its potential for development. Greece has a very special location. It plays a pivot role to link Asia and Europe. So as for China's plan, China would like the country to play a bigger role for the interconnectivity. And at the same time, with the cooperation, especially China's investment in the country's infrastructure construction, China would like to boost the transportation, the interconnectivity of the Belt and Road Initiative, to try to link China more closely to the European countries, to the customers. So this is part of China's plan to push forward the Belt and Road Initiative to achieve mutual benefits.
Of course. And as for the visit to BRICS summit, remind us of the role that China plays in this bloc, and how will Xi's trip to Latin America might boost cooperation?
Well, first of all, we have to see that in the current developments of the world, that in the emerging economies and the developing countries are playing a larger role in the world economy. But at the same time, the countries like China and Brazil also encounter some difficulties. As for China, China is carrying out domestic development and domestic reforms. And in this process, China would like to work with the other countries to conquer the difficulties together. And as for Brazil, sadly but frankly, this country was not robust in its economic development. So the two countries have to talk with each other to exchange experiences and lessons and try to achieve a development together. So this is part of Presidency's visit purpose and also China's design to push forward the BRIC cooperation. And at the same time, we also see that Latin America is experiencing turbulence, a lot of difficulties, a lot of problems in people's daily life, in the social society. So what China would like to do is to push forward development to try to address the problems by development. So this is China's idea to address some deep-rooted problems in the society.
Sure. Thank you so much for your insight, Mr. Xia. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry also has given a statement about a move by the World Bank concerning Xinjiang. The World Bank reduced its financial support for a vocational training program in the Chinese region. A ministry spokesperson says foreign media have misunderstood the move and that it was done in the interest of improving management, not because of abuse allegations.
The World Bank has conducted a thorough field review of the vocational training program in Xinjiang. The report has confirmed that the program has a positive effect on developing local employment and has helped cultivate talent. The World Bank in its report explains that the budget adjustment was done to improve management and reduce costs, and denies it was prompted by allegations of abuses. China and the World Bank have agreed to come out with a specific adjustment plan as soon as possible.
And now to the latest on the protests in Hong Kong. Today, a student protester built a roadblock outside City University in Kowloon Tong. A car was also set on fire at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Rioters disrupted the morning commute for a second straight day, blocking roads and obstructing railways. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam described the disruptors as extremely selfish. Lam said their intention is to force a shutdown of the entire city. Meanwhile, after Monday's police shooting, some officials in Britain and the U.S. have criticized Hong Kong police as not exercising restraint. The Chinese Foreign Ministry office in Hong Kong condemned the officials, and the office says black cap-clad rioters have ramped up their violence in recent days, committing vandalism and arson across the city. A Foreign Ministry spokesperson said the accusations from the two countries lack substance.
I am sure we can all see clearly from the video. The mob attacked the police first. The police were merely responding in accordance with the law. It is quite clear who did the right thing. No matter which country you are from, taking a policeman's gun and attacking him while he is enforcing the law is not acceptable. And of course, he would take countermeasures. In another incident yesterday, one of the protesters set fire to a civilian who voiced his opposing views. If Britain and America are really like what they say they are, opposed to violence and supporting restraint, why don't they point to cases such as this?
And now let me bring in our correspondent, Zhao Yunfei. He's live for us from Hong Kong, and he's been watching the story unfold there. Yunfei?
Mama, Hong Kong sees the third consecutive day of large-scale demonstrations on Tuesday. Some radical protesters set barricades on the streets to interrupt commuting. In Sachin, metro passengers had to get off the train and walk to the station after objects are found on track. Protests broke out in multiple universities across the city. Riders threw bricks and chairs from a footbridge in the University of Hong Kong. One chair hit a moving motorbike driver. As I speak, the standoff between protesters and police in the Chinese university is still underway. Masked protesters set up barricades on road and throw bricks and petrol bombs. Police fired tear gas to disperse the protesters. Online posts appeared to ask more people to join the riot. Now, in a press briefing in the afternoon, police confirmed that most people who joined the Monday and Tuesday demonstrations are students. Among 287 arrested on Monday, 187 were students, and that is about 60%. Police also said the unrest has put people under threat, and they say the rioters' violence is not only reckless, but also random. Police say anyone could be the next victim without any prior warning. Police also respond to an incident took place on Monday The man who was set on fire is suffering severe burns. He is still in a coma. Police say the case has been classified as attempted murder. As the case under investigation, police encourage residents to provide related information. Mawang.
Zhao Yunfei, bring us the latest from Hong Kong. Thanks so much. This is China 24, coming up next. The record-breaking numbers from this year's Double 11 shopping day. Plus, a major esports victory for a Chinese team and how the rising industry offers job seekers a whole new market. Welcome back. 51 children and 3 teachers have been injured in an attack at a kindergarten in southwest China's Yunnan province. A man sprayed a corrosive chemical at people in the school in the city of Kaiyuan. The incident happened on Monday afternoon. Police say the suspect climbed through a fence to get into the kindergarten and then sprayed caustic soda at people inside the building. 2 were hurt, but the injuries are not life-threatening. The 23-year-old male suspect, surnamed Kong, was detained about half an hour later. Police say they view the attack as an act of revenge against society. The world's largest shopping event, Alibaba's Double 11 Day, broke more sales records this year. An estimated 500 million shoppers took part across the world in the November 11th event. CGTN's Wu Lei has more.
A new e-commerce world record. Alibaba Group Holding recorded nearly 270 billion yuan, about $38 billion in transactions. A sharp increase from the 50 million yuan after the first Singles' Day just 10 years ago. At one point on Monday, more than 500,000 orders were being processed every second. A spokesperson for Tmall, Alibaba's business-to-consumer e-commerce retail platform, said there are 3 reasons behind the big sales numbers.
This year, we can see more consumer groups have joined the online shopping, and an increasing part of them are enjoying new shopping experience through live streaming. And we also see a sales surging of new joint brands.
More than 200,000 brands, many with global recognition, participated in the Tmall Online Shopping Festival, offering a variety of quality goods.
The increasing number of product categories reflects the diversification and customization of consumer needs. More demand will always lead to more innovative products in the markets.
In addition to the online shopping frenzy, most shopping malls, supermarkets and retail stores also joined the annual ritual, offering various coupons and discounts. Try it before you buy it. No matter if it's an online deal or a brick-and-mortar store promotion, many say Double 11 Shopping Festival has become an Olympic competition for all brands. They are using every strategy they have to win over more customers. Many consumers say they have more options than ever, which makes them shop in a more rational way.
I won't choose the brand randomly. I will only buy something that suits me well and buy it after comparing prices from different channels.
Billions of online deals could lead to almost as many parcels. Many Chinese express delivery companies are using robotics to improve efficiency and calling on consumers to recycle shipping containers for greener consumption. Many say Double 11 is not only a shopping event, but it has evolved into an annual test of technology, innovation and sustainable growth. Wu Lei, CGTN, Hangzhou.
And this year, more than 1.29 billion shipping orders were made in the shopping frenzy. But the record-breaking numbers are also raising environmental concerns, as all the shipping generates packaging waste. Chinese logistics companies are responding by taking more actions to encourage eco-friendly consumption. Alibaba's logistics affiliate, Cainiao, along with other major delivery companies, launched a recycling program to reduce waste problems. And through this program, consumers can return their shipping waste at more than 75,000 locations in 31 provinces. Cainiao also announced in June it would put in place a new system for electronic shipping labels. The amount of paper saved as a result of this year reportedly could cover 3,000 basketball courts. Some delivery companies have also updated their packaging from disposable to reusable. A weekend victory for a Chinese esports team is a reminder of the growing popularity of gaming in China. The country has become one of the largest esports markets worldwide. Government recognition and live streaming platforms are adding to the sport's popularity. And in today's China Watch, we take a look at more on the possibilities the rising industry presents.
The championship, China's Fun Plus Phoenix or FPX, won the finals for the game League of Legends on Sunday in Paris, beating out a European team. Team member Kim Tai-sang, who goes as Stoic, spoke about the victory.
This might be my last game. So if I had a chance to go back and tell the old Doimp at the start of the year, I would tell him to never give up, because there is always hope.
Things have come a long way for a pastime once described as digital heroin. The Chinese government first recognized gaming as an official sports program back in 2003. 2 years later, Chinese player Li Xiaofeng, known as Sky, won China's first world championship in the game Warcraft 3.
Every game takes about 30 minutes. It's like Chinese chess and Go. Starting with the same amount of resources, players have to defeat their rivals through strategy, maneuvers and wits.
In 2018, China beat South Korea, a country well associated with esports, in a League of Legends match at Asian Games in Jakarta. The victories have fueled esports popularity, as has a booming online live streaming platform since 2010. And earlier this year, esports careers were formally recognized as professions.
Esports is no longer a game. It's a way of entertainment in the form of gaming, similar as other competitive sports, including basketball and football.
Esports majors and classrooms have cropped up at universities, but esports itself is still far from a mature industry and is in need of professional talent and regulation. Those dreaming to become the next Li Xiaofeng are advised to be cautious. Even professional League of Legends esports player Zhang Xinran warns, playing esports isn't necessarily a ticket to fame or wealth.
I don't think this job is right for every gamer. You need to know your skill level and exert a lot of effort. Otherwise, you are just wasting your youth if you keep trying to go pro, and probably should focus on school instead.
Zhang Yunjie, CGTN.
And now here are some more figures on this rising industry. Esports audience members reached over 350 million this year. That's up 10.6% from last year. That's according to a Tencent report. Revenues are expected to reach $1.9 billion this year, including income from tournaments and sponsorships. In the past 3 years, the industry has grown at an annual rate of 20%, a trend that is expected to continue. Now, the game will become an official sports event at the Asian Games in Hangzhou in 2022 after being listed as a demonstration sport at the Games in Jakarta last year. Cities in China are competing to become the next esports hub. Hangzhou has created a $280 million esports town to attract events and players. And Shanghai is home to nearly half of China's esports clubs and also hosts many international esports events. Other major cities, including Hainan and Chongqing, are also investing in the esports sector. And now to get some more insights, let's talk to our guest, Chen Jiahe, Chief Investment Officer at Novum Aris Technologies. And he joins us via Skype from Shanghai. Hello there, Jiahe. So let's talk now about the consumer market and culture at large. As the esports industry evolves, how is it impacting regular consumers?
Well, when you look at that, it's really a lot of correlations that has been caused by the esports to many other industries and consumers. I mean, many consumers don't play esports. They say, well, esports don't affect me. But the fact is that it's a lot of correlations between esports industry and many other industries. Let me show you an example. A difference between the Chinese esport market and the markets in North America and Europe is that Chinese esport market is more concentrating on the mobile end. That means there are much more users behind mobile phones rather than personal computers. As a result, this developed the relevant industries, such as the latest version of the Huawei mobile phone. Many people are really expecting Huawei to give them faster mobile phones. So this finally reaches the consumer. So it's a lot of impacts between these industries.
In the meantime, do you think the rising audience and revenue numbers are likely to continue in the long term?
A long-term trend as the Chinese economy is developing at one of the world's fastest speeds and is still having a large potential in the consumption industry, is becoming the most important part of the Chinese economy. As we can be aware, e-sport is a very pure and a typical kind of consumption industry. However, some factors might limit the speed of the growth. One is that China is setting restrictions on its teenagers to heavily participate into the online gaming activities, partly because the short-sighting has become a problem for the health of the teenagers. Another thing is that currently Chinese people are already spending a lot on e-sport. But anyway, as the local e-sport developers can better satisfy the demand of the local customers because they're better understanding of the local culture, there still remain many potential opportunities for these local developers.
All right, thank you so much. Chen Jiahe speaking to us from Shanghai. Always great to have you. And still to come on China 24. In today's China Buzz, digital reporter Wang Hui shows us the urge to shop might be more primal than we ever realized. And China's ice-breaking ship Xuelong 2 enters the Antarctic.
Hi, I'm Wang Hui. Let's see what's trending in the country's social media. We just talked about the big Double 11 shopping event. And maybe it's not just for people. A breeder at a zoo in Jiangsu province in East China recently found someone else had paid all her items on hold on Taobao. Her confusion led her to check security cameras. She finally saw it was done by the babu she's been taking care of. She says she likes to shop online and the baboon always watches her doing this. And on that day, she forgot her cell phone in the room with the phone screen unlocked. For a small amount of payments, it doesn't need a password to go through the transactions. So the baboon managed to select all the items she wanted to buy and made all the payments, which came to more than 1,000 yuan or nearly $150 US. The customer service department at the online store says since the packages haven't been sent out yet, she still can ask for returns. A lot of Chinese internet users commented that they wish they had a baboon like this, and if only the little guy can pay for the articles out of its own savings, that would be perfect. Now back to some news about people. Look at this young guy. Well, he's rope skipping. To be honest, he's so fast I even can't see the rope. His name is Gao Hekai, 18 years old, from Jinan, the capital of Shandong province, East China. He has won a world rope skipping competition. 800 athletes from 15 countries took part. Gao skipped 222 times in 30 seconds. It means he skipped 7.4 times in just 1 second. He has been training for 7 years. He does it so much that he has to get a new rope every couple of months. Now we move on to another kind of training. In order to give students keener senses, a university in Nanchang, capital of Jiangxi province, has set up a new class called Sensory Evaluation. It falls under the major of food security and quality, which includes careers such as wine tasting. The teacher puts very small amounts of sugar, salt, and other seasonings into beer, for example, and asks students if they can tell the difference. A teacher says this will train students to tell the subtle differences in color, taste, and the texture of food. A student in a different field of study says she's jealous of those students who always have all sorts of food to eat. Well, maybe she doesn't get what the real sense of this class is all about. Back to you, Mang Mang.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Wang Hui. And now the people who work for delivery companies are really the unsung heroes of Double 11 Day. In today's Our Story, CGTN followed one delivery man in Beijing, and here's his story.
我叫甄杰，然后是一名中东快递员，从事快递工作大概10年。不管来多少快件，不管有多辛苦，我们就在最快的时间送到客户手上。我大概每天送300单左右。 虽然说我们这个工作挺辛苦的，但是工资还是挺可观的，平均每个月能拿到1万以上。双11的时候大概能拿到2万。如果是在我们老家的话，可能也就拿到5、6千的左右，拿到1半。这方面还是挺好的。
您2个快递到那个门口，到您家门口了。 这是我经常吃饭的地方。太厉害了！你今天那个什么？你今天那个帮我签个字儿，一同意签。
Theater goers in Beijing are in for a treat. 2 classic plays have been revived with new casts and stage setups. Let's take a look at what these old dramas with new presentations have to offer.
The Song of Everlasting Sorrow, an adaptation of writer Wang Anyi's classic novel, was staged at National Center for the Performing Arts in Beijing 15 years after its initial debut. The story follows the arrogant and beautiful Wang Qiyao as she navigates the working-class neighborhoods of Shanghai from the 1940s to the 1980s.
We have a brand new cast and we have new stage designs. The visuals are much more contemporary, which can better resonate with the audience.
Beyond the Horizon by American playwright and Nobel laureate Eugene O'Neill is another play that has opened in Beijing. It won the 1920 Pulitzer Prize for drama. The story tells of a tragedy on farm. 2 brothers love the same woman, and their destiny is intertwined with each other thereafter. The play explores the irreconcilable dilemma between ideal and reality.
I want to give the audience a whole new experience with this classic play. Given the tight-knit space of our theater, I want it to be interactive and immersive so that the audience can become a part of the play and be involved.
The new versions of these classics have both incorporated new elements, giving audiences a fresh experience. Lin Lin, CGTN.
And that'll do it for today's broadcast of China 24. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at china24@cgtn.com. And before we go, we leave you with a scene from China's first domestically made polar icebreaker, Xuelong 2. For the first time, it has entered the Antarctic region. I'm Wang Mengmang in Beijing. From all of us here, thank you for watching. Goodbye.